Okay. So I've been wanting to talk to you about something. I've been thinking about becoming a foster parent, and which could lead to adoption, and I wanted to see what you thought about that.
What's a foster parent and how could it lead to adoption?
When a child has been removed from their home, a foster parent is the temporary caregiver for the child, and in some cases, the foster parent may be able to adopt that child.
Why would a child be taken from their home and parent?
Well, unfortunately, sometimes parents cannot care for the child properly. They may be neglectful parents or in some cases abusive parents. They may be unfit due to drug use or even mental illness. When the child's welfare is at risk, the state may step in and take the child out of the home.
So does that mean they'll never see their parents again?
Well, usually in the beginning there's always visitation set up, and so the child and the biological parents visits with one another. But the Department of Child-Based Services, they work out a certain program for the parents to follow and complete. If they work their program and they complete it and they do everything that is told that they're told to do, then the cabinet can recommend for them to be reunited with their biological parents. It's up to the judge whether they're sent home or not. But if they choose not to do what they're supposed to, then their parental rights can be terminated. Um, and in most cases, the child's current foster parents are given the chance of adopting the child before anyone else because the bond and attachment that has already been formed with the foster family. According to this book, A Child's World, Infancy through Adolescence, attachment is the emotional tie between an infant and a caregiver. A healthy attachment promotes a baby's survival and builds a foundation for trust. And according to Erickson, trust is the most important factor when learning how to have an intimate relationship with others. Most times, loss can harm a child's ability to form an attachment. If the child is removed from the biological parent's home, then moved again and again, the child can have feelings of abandonment and have issues with trust. So now they try to keep the child in the same foster home as long as possible. And at one time, they thought that moving the child from home to home was best because they didn't want the child to form an attachment to anyone other than the biological parents in case the biological parents went home. But research has found that this can be harmful to children, especially children that's already had tough starts in life.
Are we going to adopt a foster child? If we do, will they be available for adoption?
Yes, if a judge allows us to adopt the child, then yes, we will adopt it.
Is this the only way you can adopt a child, or is there another?
Well, there are other ways. There is what is known as the domestic and international adoption.
What is international and domestic adoption, and what's the difference?
Well, according to the website AmericanAdoptions.com, domestic adoption is when we would contact a private adoption center about receiving a child here in the United States. An international adoption is when you adopt from another country, like China. With both domestic and international adoptions, you are put on a waiting list and can cost anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 versus foster adoption, which here in Kentucky is around $1,500 or even less. Even less. Both international and domestic adoption, travel is involved and required, especially with international adoption. You would be required to travel to the country you are adopting from and remain there anywhere from a week to 3 or 4 weeks. And you may even have to do more than 1 or 2 visits before even adopting the child. And in domestic adoptions, you would have to, you would probably have to travel there too, because you would have to go wherever the biological mother is. If she's in California and you're in New York, you have to travel across the country to where she's at. The wait time for international adoption depends on the country. China, it can take around 4 years, whereas Russia can take a year or less. Domestic adoption, when using this American Adoption Agency, according to their website, they say that depending on the parent's flexibility, they could adopt a child anywhere from 1 month to 12 months. If they are willing to adopt a child of any race, any age, regardless of medical history, they could adopt a child as early as a month, according to this adoption agency. Foster care adoption could take years due to court issues and waiting for termination of parental rights. The scary thing about foster to adopt is if being a foster parent, you could lose the child after having them with you for a long time. If the judge sends the child home, they will have to go home even if the child wants to stay with them.
Why are you wanting to do foster to adopt instead of international or domestic?
Well, even though it could take 3 years for an adoption to be complete, you could still have the child in your home the full amount of time. One family that I know received an infant at 2 months old, but he was almost 3 before they were able to legally adopt him. But he was with the family the entire time. He came at 2 months and actually is still with them now to this day.
How will the child act when he comes into our home? How will his behavior be?
Well, it depends on the child and it depends on their background. A lot of children, especially coming from foster care, have been exposed to neglect, physical abuse, sexual abuse, prenatal drug exposure, and this can really interfere with attachment and the child's identity and the child's psychological development. So sometimes the children may lash out in anger. They may have what is known as reactive attachment disorder, which is a disorder that has the child unable to feel any empathy or remorse or love. Now, with the right help, the child can overcome this and end up forming a healthy attachment with an adopted family. But the good thing is there is education and training, and when you become a foster parent, you have to have ongoing training. You have to go through training before you're even approved to become a foster parent. But that offers all kinds of education experience as far as letting you know what to expect with children and ways of handling it. And then even after being approved, you still have to um, do ongoing training. And so this is actually helpful with dealing with kids that have had a hard start in life. So, what do you think? Do you think you would be interested in this?
Yeah, I've always really wanted a little brother or sister. Not a big one.
Okay, I think we ought to give them a call. Thanks.